So would you say all people with small dicks are racist?
No, but it's just no one wants a small dick, so no one wants any racism.
What's going on, guys? Drew Hernandez here with Lives Matter. We are here in downtown LA at the LA City Hall for the Black Lives Matter protest. We're going to talk to some protesters and see what's on their mind. But before we begin, our YouTube channel is extremely deboosted. Make sure if you want to give and you want to support us, the links are in the description below. Let's see what happens. So what's your message today on your sign?
My sign has lots of things. Racism is small dick energy, because it is. No one gives a fuck about racism. Black Lives Matter. My friend here, she doesn't want to talk, but we're here against everything. Cops, brutality, racism, Black Lives Matter, everybody.
So would you say all people with small dicks are racist?
No, but it's just no one wants a small dick, so no one wants any racism.
Gotcha. Did you do any clinical tests to see if that's true?
I talked to a lot of females, and we don't really care for small dicks, so we don't care for racism.
How many racist dicks did you see in order to make that sign valid?
Who's gonna see this? Lots of racist dicks, unfortunately, but I turn them away, so I don't have to deal with them.
Do you have any statistical, factual stats of how many black lives are taken by police brutality? Let's say in 2019.
I know last year was 1,019, I believe. 1,000.
Do you know why?
Do I know why they were taken? Racial profiling, white privilege. They don't get treated like us. They don't get the same treatment that we do. I know if I went up to a cop right now and put my finger in his fucking face and said, fuck you, I wouldn't get treated the same way if anybody else did it. So it's white privilege, it's disgusting racism, it's out of control. And it's really sad. What's sad is half the people that are white privileged don't even realize they're white privileged. I lost at least 20 friends this week because they don't understand that white privilege exists. They don't see it. And I don't get how they don't see it. So they're the problems, and it's alive and well. I see it every day. I experience it every day. So I get away with shit that I shouldn't be getting away with because of the color of my skin. It's disgusting.
What's going on, sir? What brings you out here today?
The protest, man. I'm protesting for peace and justice. You know, we need less brutality from the police. And I think it's about time. We need social change.
Gotcha. So your sign here, what does your sign mean?
Well, I'm standing with the Black Lives Matter movement. And I don't think police brutality is a just way to deal with any problem. And yeah, pretty much a support for the movement. And I think we need social change.
Gotcha. What are the statistics of black people that are victims of police brutality in the past, let's say, year?
I don't know. I can't tell you for sure, so I'm not going to make up a number.
Gotcha. What about 2019, 2018?
Once again, I don't know. I know it's a lot, but I don't know the exact numbers, so I'm not going to tell you something I don't know. The subject is, we know there's a lot of police brutality out there, and it's not just for the black community. We see it in the Latino community. We see it in all kinds of minority communities. And we can't just say, look, what about this? What about that? That's not the argument I'm trying to make. I'm trying to make a point that this is happening. We need to stop it.
A man dies when he refuses to stand up for justice. Basically, man, I just want to put this message up for all the people that are not out here on the protest to just, come out here. We want change. We're basically demanding change, man.
Gotcha. Are you speaking in reference to police brutality against the black community?
Yeah, specifically police brutality.
Gotcha. Would you say, what are the numbers of the black community or black people being killed by police, let's say in 2019?
I can't give you those statistics. I don't know them on the top of my head.
Okay, gotcha. So do you have any kind of factual evidence of police brutality against the black community that you could cite?
Look those up first. Yeah, we'd have to look at, and I think when you ask a question like that, you have to look at the statistics of mass incarceration, and you have to also look at the statistics of the number of black people that are in America compared to the number of white people that are here as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting about that is in 2018, the crime reports that came out, even the Washington Post and Wall Street Journal cited that black people are committing 53% of homicide and murder, and they're committing 60% of robberies in the United States, but they only make up 13% of the population.
Exactly.
So they're committing the majority of crime, even though they're the minority.
Yeah.
So do you think that's probably a reason as to why they're interacting with police more than white people?
I think you would have to look at the whole context, you know, because like
I mean, it's something to think about, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You have to look at different perspectives. Yeah. Like I understand like what you're trying to say, like especially since it's 13% of the whole population. You also have to also look at history as well. Like you have to talk about the war on drugs. I would definitely like have to like sit down and look at all the numbers and all that in order for me to give you guys like statistics, because like off the top of my head I won't be able to do that. But
you know, and under President Barack Obama, the first black president, right, in 2013, under his FBI watch, these are statistics that aren't biased towards a Republican or Donald Trump. 2,500 black people were murdered, homicide, in 2013 under a black president's watch, right? Only 200 people, white people, killed those black people. 2,200 black people killed those 2,500 black people, and the rest were just other races. So what happened under the black president, the first black president's watch, was that black on black crime was skyrocketing across the nation. So is that due to racism? How is that possible if we have a black president when black people are killing each other more than any numbers in the United States of America? Is that due to racism and bad cops, or is there something wrong in our communities against each other?
I think the way the question
And Latinos were right behind them.
I think the way the question was posed, I mean, I wouldn't really say like because you have a black president now it's supposed to decrease just because you have a black president. And here's the thing, like I definitely
Well, because a lot of people will say, oh, if there's a white man in office, you know, there's going to be no justice for black people. So, I mean, it's kind of like, well, we had a black president and black on black crime was skyrocketing.
I understand that perspective. I can see like your view on that. And I honestly have looked at the statistics that under Obama's administration, like mass incarcerations did skyrocket. They even increased. So I get your argument. However, I don't think that just because he's black, just because we had a black president, that resolves everything. You have to really look.
And I agree with you, because if you flip it, if there was a white man in office like Donald Trump right now, that's to blame for everything. So I don't think whoever's in office is to blame. I think we have problems in our communities within themselves.
I think this is this as a whole. You have to look at everything. You just can't like pin it just on the community. You have to look at the system as well. You have to put all of that together and be able to, you know.
So who would you say is to blame for black people killing each other more than any other race in the United States of America? Is that because of the white man?
You really have to look at everything, man. I think so, because I feel like, I don't know, like what's your view? What do you think?
I personally believe that our communities need to do better. I think when we glorify gun violence through SoundCloud rap, when we glorify violence through Hollywood and mainstream media, I think our communities are getting damaged, because right now it's the most popular thing in the universe to glorify violence, glorify guns, glorify fornication, glorify all kinds of evil, and you make tons of bands and you blast it all over social media. I think what that does, let me finish. I think what that does, bro, I think what that does is it cultivates a culture of violence within our communities, and I think we rip ourselves to shreds. And because the police have to address it, because there are innocent bystanders within those communities, I think it's like a cocktail of just mayhem, bro. And I think it gets distorted in so many ways. And I think us as minorities, I think we need to do better and tell our communities to stop glorifying violence so the police don't have a reason to come and look at our communities as a threat. Do you have any statistical facts of how many black people are victims of police brutality, let's say in 2019, 2018?
I don't have the exact facts, but this is something that you deal with every day. As a black man, I grew up, I deal with this stuff all the time. It's almost become normal, you know, but when does that stop, you know? How many more times is going to happen? So I think the biggest worry I have right now is we know that they've been charged, but they haven't been convicted yet, the officers. And to see what's going to happen when they get convicted, what's going to be their real punishment. So right now, this is just the beginning. You know, we need to come together and make sure that everyone is fighting for what's right, and those officers need to be charged exactly as what they did.
Gotcha. Last question, and I want your honest opinion, bro. Latest crime statistics in 2018, quoted by the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, quote that, and these are all crime statistics, that the black community is actually committing 53% of homicide and 60% of robberies and theft, but they're only 13% of the actual American population. So I just want your opinion. Is it possible that the black community is having more encounters with the police because they're committing the majority of crime across the United States of America?
Why do you think those crimes happen? You get gentrified, you put us in bad situations. We're not in the best school systems, we're not in the best neighborhoods. You know, job employment, you know, you have to fight for your jobs, you know, and then we're not getting jobs because of our race.
What brings you out here today?
Supporting Black Lives Matter.
Gotcha. What would you say is the number one message that you would want to send to communities that don't understand what's going on out here?
It's important that we defund the police so that we can fix systemic racism in America.
Gotcha. You know, there are a lot of people at home that may not understand Black America or, you know, Hispanic culture when it comes to police brutality or things like this, right? Mm-hmm. What would you say to communities at home that don't understand? Like, how would you give them understanding as to what is really taking place?
I think it's really everyone's responsibility to educate themselves, actually. I don't think it's really anyone else's responsibility to explain what's going on to anyone else. I think it's really important right now that everyone takes it upon themselves to educate themselves so that we can really get to the root of the issue and change what's broken, not what's broken, what's wrong.
Gotcha. I think a lot of people out here would agree that, you know, Black lives are being disproportionately targeted by police. Do you have any statistical evidence to prove so?
I think I'm actually good.